Hello friend, how are you doing today? My name is Mary, this is Happilyeveresch, and today I'm going to do a little Monday reads for you, chat about everything that I have been reading, what I plan to read, and then I do have a mini library book haul for you as well, so let's just hop on into it. The first book that I finished this past week was a middle grade novel, and that is Some Places More Than Others by Renee Watson. This is just the dust jacket, but this is a pretty short middle grade story that's really kind of my favorite kinds of stories. Slice of life, a tale about a young girl who is just learning more about herself and more about her family and just like what that means. A little bit of coming to age flair, if you will. I think that Renee Watson captures young girls just so perfectly. I've read another novel by her that was written about a teenager, and I just feel like she strikes that balance of like love and angst, and angst might even be a strong word, but like just the love you have for your family, but just kind of trying to figure out who you are and who your family are, and you know how everyone kind of fits together as you're going through these changes in your life as a young person. She just captures it really well. I love the way that she writes dialogue and relationships. It's very believable. These are very realist stories that she writes, but she still manages just to kind of like suck you in and get you wrapped up in this family and their lives. But kind of the crux of the story is a young girl wants to meet her father's family. He grew up in New York, they live in Oregon, kind of in the suburbs, and she wants to go to Harlem, I believe. Yes, she wants to go visit her family in Harlem and get to know them more and learn, you know, more about herself and her father through that experience. And that's just what it gives you. Heartwarming, beautiful story, solid 4-star read. I would read anything that Renee Watson writes because I think she's really stellar, and I really just enjoyed the story. It was just the perfect amount of like comfort read, but also just like exploring important issues, and I just loved it. Next, I finished up an audiobook, and that is Wait Till Next Year by Doris Kearns Goodwin. This is her memoir of growing up in the suburbs of New York City and her family's love for the Dodgers when they were the Brooklyn Dodgers. This was just like the perfect memoir for me. Coming of age, which I love, someone looking back on their childhood. She had a really lovely childhood, and I also think that that can be very refreshing because a lot of times people are reflecting on hard things that they've gone through, which is absolutely fair and valid in a story that needs to be told, but also just like the pleasantries of growing up in her neighborhood and her family just shone through in this, and I loved it. I thought that it was beautiful, and I think that the past often gets criticized, as it should. Like, things need to be looked at critically, and we need to think critically about the past, but I loved that this highlighted so many good things. Like, there's good and bad that can exist at the same time, and both are valid and both need to be explored. And yeah, while she doesn't shy away from the issues of the 1950s, she also lets her good memories and the goodness of her experience shine through, and I really appreciated that. I love Doris Kearns Goodwin's writing style. She is a historian and has written a lot about American political figures, namely Abraham Lincoln. She's written about both of the Roosevelts, Lyndon Johnson. She actually worked for Lyndon Johnson and like helped write his autobiography, and has like since written work about him. So she's very smart, but she's just, her writing is so easy to fall into, and she really paints an easy to read story, and that really shone through in her memoir. I enjoy baseball. I am a Royals fan. I had the joy of getting to watching them kind of rise from being not so great of a baseball team to being World Series champions. So I can very much identify with like her love. I didn't have a love for baseball as much as she did, but like baseball very much says like spring, summer to me. So this was like just the perfect mood read for me as well. I really enjoyed this memoir. I think if you're looking for a coming to age story, if you kind of want a little piece of like American nostalgia, if you like baseball, those are all reasons that I would pick this book up. It was stellar on audiobook, and another really solid 4-star read for me. I have a goal to read all of Doris Kearns Goodwin's backlist this year, so we'll see if I actually make it through I've got some hefty history to get through, but her writing is such a joy to read, and I really enjoyed this one. I am currently reading the start of a mystery series, and that is The Widows of Malabar Hill. I can't find my physical copy. It's around here somewhere. I'll put a little picture here so you can see the gorgeous cover. It's a stellar cover, and I'm really enjoying this. It's really atmospheric. It's really setting an interesting scene where we're learning about this mystery, but also it's like, I think, a really strong protagonist setup, because this is a mystery series that's going to follow our main character, whose name is escaping me now, but I think I'm really gonna enjoy this. It's been so fun. I've been sucked in so far. I actually started it on my birthday. It was such a wonderful birthday treat. I love a good cozy historical mystery, and this so far is really hitting that nail right on the head for me. I'm super enjoying that one, and I will probably finish it over the next couple days. And then the audiobook that I'm for sure going to be picking up on Monday, the day that you're watching this, because I have a solid 4 hours of driving that I will be doing for work, so I will probably be finishing this one and needing to start another audiobook, but I'm really excited about it, and that is Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. This is a middle grade written in verse, and it's all about a young girl's experience as a refugee from Syria coming to the United States, and her experience making the United States her home, while also grieving the loss of her home and her family in Syria. And I've heard such good things about this, and I can't wait to read it. I don't think I've listened to The Poet X on audio, which is another book written in verse, but I've not listened to any middle grade written in verse on audio, and I think that it's going to translate really well to that format, and I'm really excited to give it a go, and to definitely be finishing a book on my very long amount of driving that I have to do on Monday. So I'll definitely be getting to this, and then I'll probably have to end up picking up another audiobook, so I'll need to think a little bit more about that, but this one for sure will be getting read on Monday, and I'm very excited about it. And now I'd like to share a little mini library book haul. The first one I already showed you, Wait Till Next Year by Doris Kearns Goodwin, and I've already chatted about it, but I was able to pick this one up from my library. I do love a good paperback from the library, because there's something so like worn and floppy about them, so this was a joy. I did sometimes listen and read with my eyes at the same time, which is, I'm discovering that I quite enjoy doing, so I did do that a little bit with this physical copy, but I did enjoy picking the physical copy up because there are pictures, and it's always fun to be able to flip through and kind of see, especially like the ball players. Like, I didn't know, you know, what they looked like, so it was fun to be able to see them. Here's like some pictures from her childhood, so I do always like to get a physical copy of nonfiction just to be able to see the pictures if there are any, so I was glad that I ended up picking it up physically. And then I have another middle grade book, and that is Land of the Cranes, and this is by, I can't see the author's first name, Ada Salazar. This was Amanda over at the Curly Reader's favorite middle grade novel, which it is another book written in verse, also following a young refugee, but this girl is from Mexico, I believe. Yes, so this is about a young girl who was a refugee from Mexico. The family lives in Los Angeles, and this is about the experience when her father is arrested by ICE and her experiences regarding all of that. Again, one that I'm very excited to read. Very important issues, very timely issues, written in verse. I might see if there's an audiobook for this as well, and maybe I'll just like have a twofer on my long drive. I don't know if that's like the themes are too similar, but regardless, I'm very excited to read this, and two ladies that I trust their opinions, especially on middle grade. So I'm very excited to give this a go. And let's see, this was written, I'm just curious to see how close together they were published. So this was 2020 by Scholastic. This is HarperCollins, 2019. So pretty close. They were published pretty close together. And then last but certainly not least, this is a book that I had heard the title. I wasn't sure if it was one that I was going to want to read, but then I heard some BookTube prize reviews of it, and I was very interested after hearing people talk more about it, and that is Homeland Elegies, and this is by Ayed Akhtar. This sounds so fascinating. It's written almost like a memoir. Even at the beginning, there kind of like a prologue, like an explanation, a chronological order of events, just like very reminiscent of a memoir, but it's not. It's a novel. But even I'm gonna read you the synopsis because it even makes it sound like a memoir when you read the synopsis. A deeply personal work about identity and belonging in a nation coming apart at the seams. Homeland Elegies blends facts and fiction to tell an epic story of longing and dispossession in the world that 9/11 made. Part drama, part social essay, part picturesque novel. At its heart, it is the story of a father, a son, and the country they both call home. It just sounds great. The reviews were pretty glowing from what I got from the BookTube prize, and I do believe this continued on into the next round. And so I just decided that I was going to check it out, and who knows if I'll actually get to it before it's due back at the library. But I'm definitely very intrigued, and it's one that I might buy. We'll see. But I couldn't help but put it on my holds and was excited. I thought there might be a little bit of a wait, but I got it pretty quickly. So that is my little library haul. I'd love to know what you've been picking up lately, what books you've gotten from the library, what you've been reading, what you hope to get done with the rest of your April days. Let's chat all about that down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like this video, and if you want to see more bookish content from me, please subscribe. I will talk to y'all later. Bye. I'm filming a video. Are you coming back in? Ew. Hot milk.